Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Film Media Love. Just me for now, very quickly, but I'm very proud to announce that we have our first sponsor for the podcast, and that sponsor is Opus Pro. More on them later, but let's get started on the episode. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the podcast. We have a very exciting thing we're going to do to open the podcast. This is an audio visual medium, as you guys know. I'm not going to share my screen, though, to give away too many details, but I have been conducting a brand new AI experiment for an Instagram account and TikTok and YouTube called Gym Fact Network, and you can subscribe to all of them. I'm public about this one, Jan, so let's do it. Let's go. And I've uploaded one of the latest videos to YouTube and Instagram, and within their first hour, they've done well. And I haven't uploaded it to TikTok yet. So live right now on this podcast, I'm going to hit the post button in 3, 2, 1. And it's loading. Okay, it's uploading. Let's just leave that. At the end of the podcast, we're going to see how many views it's got, if it's got any. It hasn't got any hashtags on it or anything like that, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, that's a little fun thing that we're going to try out now, I guess.
Do you want to say something about this episode you're uploading? No.
Say something about this episode that we're uploading. Am I missing any information that...
No, I thought maybe some, I don't know, it's because you didn't put any hashtags or anything up there, so...
Oh, about this. Oh, okay. The video itself, it would have been up for a week by now, but it is part of the greatest bodybuilder series that I've done, which is a 7-video thing, going through 7 of the greatest bodybuilders. And so it's just an AI-generated script, AI-generated voice, and I've just found videos of them doing all the poses and stuff. It's very striking. It's very fun, and it connects very much to the Gym Fact Network channel. So hopefully, because the YouTube and Instagram posts have done well already, we can hopefully this can be the big push to get it started as a channel and thing, and we can get the ball rolling there. Am I missing anything else that I should have said?
No, all good. All good. So how can we jump? Oh, you sent me the link from Mr. Beast.
Did you watch it?
Yes, of course.
Awesome. Okay. Today we're going to talk about Mr. Beast, and I reckon this is a long time coming, just because of how we talk about YouTube and online cultures and trendy things. And I'm just going to say it. I don't like Mr. Beast's content.
Yeah, it's very... always, do crazy stuff, and then it's just basically very loud, and very like, but maybe that's the point, it's, sorry to say, your generation, Joe, is when you have a plastic bottle and for half it's full and you flip it and it lands like on the table like normal, people go wild, it's like, what the fuck?
There's something a little bit exciting about that, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, it's way too exciting, and maybe that's, for an old guy like me, that's okay, I don't get it why you need to put a fucking Lamborghini or Ferrari, whatever he did, I think it's a Lamborghini, into a shredder. It's like...
Yeah, the latest video that he uploaded, it's called Lamborghini vs. Shredder, and it goes for like 16 minutes or so. Within 24 minutes, it had 2 million views. That's when I got to see it. And it's the most bombastic, crazy Mr. Beast video, in my opinion. So I think that is the mountaintop in terms of crazy stuff that he does regarding his content. It may not be his most expensive video ever, or it could be actually, but like it's insane that this is YouTube and this is what the top person on YouTube does, and this is the content that they produce for an online platform. And is this the first Mr. Beast video you've ever seen, Jan?
No, no, no. I've heard about Mr. Beast through a friend, and back then I didn't understand why everybody is like just watching him, because he's just throwing money away. Yeah, I mean, I was watching this film, and when you sent me the email with the two words "must watch," and then the link. Um, let's put it this way, because like I said the other day when we talked about our film set, how to come and what to do on a regular film set, it doesn't matter what you're filming. If you have a crew of 50 or if you just have this one, you always have those three phases. It's like pre-production, production, and post.
I'm so glad you've tied it back to the production conversation, because that's the main thing I wanted to mention. What a ridiculous amount of production that would have gone into this whole thing. Like, his team is firing on all cylinders and doing all sorts of crazy, crazy shit. The Mr. Beast empire is, I can't begin to, like...
Yeah, I mean, he must put a lot of effort in pre-production, because he probably has some people to come up with crazy ideas. It's like you can compare this with the author room, where you have like a room full of authors. They write something, and then they stick one has basically to watch the red line. So you don't make out of Mr. Beast Mr. Heast or whatever. It's so there are some rules probably made up in the back. What to do, and then they are limitless, it seems, so it's always having brainstorm and putting 50 ideas and then narrow them down, and how crazy can you get, and the thing is what you get out of this, it's like it's pure entertainment, okay, and you get carried away, right? I mean, is this the thing, or I mean, what does it bring me to watch a Lamborghini get shredded?
I think part of the appeal is you ask yourself the question, okay, what is Mr. Beast going to do next? So at one point he shreds a Lamborghini, and in the video previously he got one person from every country to compete in an Olympics type race, and he does so you kind of have that in your head. That's the returning value to Mr. Beast. What will he do next? And it's more extreme and it's more extravagant. And I should clarify, when I said at the start, I don't like Mr. Beast, I mainly want to point out that I just don't like what he does to creators on YouTube, especially the smaller creators. Because YouTube is a platform that is maintained by its creators, and they set the trend for what is popular, and they get the vibe going and all that sort of stuff. The fact that the person at the top is spending millions and millions per video, when someone who's starting from nothing has nothing, and when the platform elevates people who are doing videos similar to Mr. Beast, it creates the small 99.999% of creators to do, they just can't compete. And I think it creates a competition that is really difficult. And I've heard Mr. Beast on podcasts and things talk about promoting small creators and wanting creators to do well and all that sort of stuff. And it's very hard. It's impossible to compete with him. There's few things that are impossible. Competing with Mr. Beast on his level is impossible. And
but why should I compare with him? Because it's already there. His idea is to make it every time crazier. He's like he find a way to be like Apple, who has once a year to come out and say this is the greatest stuff, blah 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 blah, and they make a big show, and then everybody runs there and says, okay, yeah. So, but the people get caught and companies get caught into this, and then you disappoint more people, and and there's a huge risk to do this. That's why he's throwing so much money in it. But to watch it, from a stylistic approach, from a visual approach, it's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
That's like really, really cheap produced. There's like always like a couple cameras, a drone, and then fixed cameras where you just put them on there, and then there's not even a moving camera, something really nice. You don't have out of focus stuff, so it's like it's like a really cheap production. At the end of the day, the content to be filmed,
Yeah.
this is something where it's a lot of money in there, yes. But to be honest, why isn't he just getting to the banks and get the cash out and is burning the cash?
I think
It's
he is.
Yeah, but then if a 14-year-old is watching that, what does it mean to this 14-year-old? You can burn money. I want to see all the kids who burn the money from their parents.
It's that's an interesting point that you bring up. It's like when you ask teenagers and stuff like that for the last 10, 15 years, what do you want to be when you grow up? There was that one stage where 65% were saying popular on social media, being YouTube or Instagram or whatever it was, and people idolize the top creators. And there's a few creators that are down to earth and chill, but the fact that the number one is Mr. Beast, who makes, like, in terms of the imagery, like, I kind of agree with you. It's flat imagery. The only thing that's sort of dynamic and stylized are the drone shots. But otherwise, it's, I think they know this. It's whatever is necessary to capture the simplest information to move the story forward, because YouTube is a faster pace medium. When you've got, when you're watching Succession on HBO and there's all these different layers to the story, you can be a little bit slow and you can have handheld cameras and move around and follow characters in a room. But in this Mr. Beast thing, it's like, okay, we're at the Domino's site. Here's the Domino's. Here's the 7-Eleven. Let's push it straight away. It's like there's no setup. There's a bit of setup. It's the minimal amount of what's required to make the video move forward. And that is, it's interesting. Like,
yeah, but there's never a interference. It's like pushing out. This politician get destroyed by the speaker, and then you see the speaker asking a question, and you never get the reaction of the politician. That's like, you don't have a conversation then. It's just like throwing out, and it's fake, because you will not. It's like, if I have Mr. Beast, why is he, for example, not getting the Lamborghini seller or someone at Lamborghini, a high position person who to get interviewed about his opinion, then he would get straight naked, because he doesn't have any arguments why you should do this. If just he made the Lamborghini, the pool tank shit.
Yeah.
What else was there?
So I think he got a stack of dominoes to crush a building, and I say building because it was just cardboard put up around. Then he got someone to another Lamborghini, and he set it up, and he said, we're going to shoot it with a tank. And so the guy had 24 hours to set up fortification and structures and whatnot to protect the Lamborghini. He also blew up a roller coaster and then launched the cart off it, and also attached explosives to it. He blew up some safes, vaults, and then he put a Lamborghini in a shredder. And it's
and
just
one of those episodes, or one of those ideas. Let's take the Lamborghini into the shredder.
Yep.
This must have cost like something, at least the Lamborghini, if it's a new one, or if it's a used one, of course you have different prices. But let's say it's like 500,000,
Yep.
because you have to build the shredder, you have to put it up there. There's a lot of labor beforehand. That's what I meant with pre-production,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But you can, and I bet in the USA, with 500,000, you can buy the nicest homeless house, a house for homeless people, with a swimming pool, with air condition, with a gym, with all that, You could
And
do this.
Mr. Beast is headquartered in North Carolina. So prices there are a little bit lower compared to Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, maybe even Texas. Actually, Texas would be kind of cheap, but like, so his cost, that's an advantage actually to his production. There's lots of empty space. There's lots of fields where he can blow up vaults and safes to cook eggs. And
it's just like, I mean, for the kids, it's like maybe funny to see this, but it's like, that's just fast food, and
yes,
we all know how healthy fast food is. I don't say don't never eat this, but if you are only consuming fast food visually, this is stuck in your head. And there's no way that never changes in human life. Is if you have a shelf with books, a new person knows exactly what's in the head of the person who owns the shelf, because they can assume all these books they are up in the shelves, maybe not 100%, but most of them were read by the person who's living there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you can interfere, and you can see, okay, it's the Bible or it's something else, and then it's maybe heavy stuff and more like entertainment stuff. But if you're only consuming this Mr. Beast, there's nothing in there. You can watch the fucking white wall. It's the same for me.
Yeah, yeah. I actually agree with that. It's hello. It's if you watch Mr. Beast on a podcast, you'll learn a lot of stuff. He says some interesting things, but that's on other people's channel and content. But the Mr. Beast channel itself and the brand is abject junk food that doesn't do anything, and apart from having spectacle, is a essential waste of time. And like, there's the argument that you can say to what we're saying. Why does YouTube need to be a place where you can learn something from videos, or have themes or stories or character arcs or anything like that? I just mainly see it though, as from what I said earlier, in terms of the competition that it creates on YouTube, and for the people who are trying to really get up there, who don't have the money to do this. And I think what we should do as an exercise is try and roughly, without confirming it, figure out how much it would have cost to shred the Lamborghini, how many people would have had to be there, how much setup, all that sort of stuff, just to get an idea of, so people can understand what it takes for a YouTube video to be like this. Like,
yeah.
So
I mean, the shredder, it will cost so much money and time, because the machine has to be built. You cannot go into a supermarket, and say, I want the biggest shredder. Where is it? They had to build it, and they had to bring it, transport this over there and stuff like that, So there is all kinds of pre-production again, and that's nice for the people, so they have jobs, and, I hope he's paying well then, so they can get all the stuff, but it's like only for a handful of people,
yeah.
and I just think, it's just our society is, then, it's rather have more people will watch that than, for example, if he says, okay, guys, I built this home, this really nice home for homeless people, and let's watch that, because they come in, then they don't say anything, and then it's getting boring, because this is exactly the same life what most people are living. You don't have the money to, and the possibilities to build up shit like that. There's no way. For a normal person. So this is just like always, it's crazy. Oh, it's crazy. And then, it's a really smart move by this picture, and say, and this is the visual, and then the audio comes off, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
there's just like coming shit out of a shredder, you know? It's like, no, it's not the craziest
I
shit you've
know. A
ever seen.
Lamborghini looks cool as is. It doesn't look cool in a bunch of pieces coming at the bottom of a
Yeah,
shredder.
yeah. It's like, you know, when you take a dump and you look into the toilet and say, this is the craziest shit I've ever seen.
No, it's
You
shit.
know, no, it's shit, exactly. You know, and it stays like that, and why does it has to be a Lamborghini? You know, why can't it be just a fucking Oldsmobile?
Okay, so the
You know,
reason it's a Lamborghini is because it's a sports car that is expensive, and you don't ever see this type of thing. You like how many in life, I reckon I've seen 5 sports cars like that, red or yellow or blue or something stupid in the streets in Australia. It's not too common here. I don't know what it's like in Berlin, and I've maybe seen a Rolls Royce or something like that every now and then. But the general population don't see these types of sports cars, and when they do, it's only in videos and stuff like that. And the other thing that people never do with these fancy sports cars is destroy them. So you've already caught people's interest by having Lamborghini in a shredder, and the purpose is just for the spectacle and the it's like, I can't believe they did this. That's literally all it is. It's nothing else.
exactly. So then my question or my new thesis is first, in Sweden, we have the problem that there is a guy from Iraq, he's a refugee,
Mm-hmm.
and in Sweden, you can burn books and burn, for example, the Bible and the Quran. Is it Quran in
Yep.
English? Yeah.
Quran.
And he's burning those Qurans. And they were yesterday, like there were 200 people and around him. And they arrested 10 because some were throwing stones at him, you
Right.
know? And I'm Catholic, but I don't understand why you have to burn a Quran to say this is he wants, and his reason is to say the Quran is and the whole Muslim world is very aggressive and not good for the Western world and stuff like that. I don't know. But if he's doing this in Saudi Arabia, in all these other countries around the Middle East,
Yeah.
is like they go like 1,000 people demonstrating.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
from the embassies, from Sweden embassies in all these countries, they have to report to the Saudi Arabic government to say, this is our rights, free speech of freedom. It's like freedom of speech. This is the right way, right?
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
English, and it's okay. And it's like you haven't heard that, and this is even something where you influence much more people, on a complete different level than shreddering a Lamborghini.
Yeah. Yeah. So, do you think that with Mr. Beast's influence, he needs to have a level of responsibility and has to have lessons in his content?
Then I think he would lose right away more than 50% of his viewers,
Yeah. Yeah.
because they just want that. It's just the understanding of us two white Western people to say, yeah, that's crazy. And why don't you make something better out of their money? In the States, Mr. Beast will do one thing to
Yeah.
us, because he can shit money.
Yeah,
That's
it's
his thing.
crazy.
And this is just what I see. It's just the level. I think if you are raised like this, to see this, that you can just burn money, um, people don't have a lot of respect for material stuff anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
And there is a time. I mean, I live here 5 minutes by feet next to Kurfürstendamm. This is the oldest and wealthiest street in Berlin. you know. And funny enough is on my corner here of Kurfürstendamm and Schlüterstraße, there are every day I see kids there, like from the afternoon after school, they come there and they stand in the middle of the street. You know, there's an island and where you can stand, you know, and they have cameras there. They wait for crazy cars, a car spotter we call them, you know. And this comes from plane spotters, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Our world is crazy, you know. You sit there or you stand there and you wait for a car driven by, and then you make pictures for yourself. I mean, sorry, but this is, for me, it's just a waste of time, you know.
Yeah, but I don't have any animosity towards those people just because it's like, if I learned that a few of them were doing it for some type of art project and they were going to do some type of photography thing with all these photos and whatnot, then that's cool. And if there were 5 different people there doing this car spotting and they had 5 different reasons, and I could actually find an understanding for that. And who knows, maybe some of them are just doing it for, or as an online term, clout, which is basically online popularity. They're just doing it also for the, you know, look at these cool cars and stuff like that. Are they also, if I can ask, are they taking photos to see certain people in the cars? Like, is Brad Pitt
No,
rolling up in a...
I don't I don't know, you know.
Okay.
It's like I was because I had to wait because it's with the street light, and I was, you know, getting my window down, and I said, what the hell are you guys doing, you know? Why do you make pictures of like a Ferrari? You know, it's like and they said, yeah, I like to have him, you know. It's like one
Okay.
said, you know, and the others, they were just ashamed, and one was turning around, I remember. I mean, those are 16-year-old boys, you know, and doing this. It's you can't do this, you know. It's just, you know, I think this is like, it's like no real, you know.
Substance. It's, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
you
hollow.
know.
Yeah.
And if everybody is doing this because everybody wants to be Mr. Beast nowadays, you know, then it's like kind of, there's this thing. I'm jumping now because
Mm-hmm.
here in Europe we have the economy of production. You produce something, you sell it, you know, and this is our main economy. In the US, it's more the money where it is, because it's easy to make, it's easier to have to have money and to get out of the money more money, you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
instead of creating something, you know. And these two things, where it's like big economy, you know, and people get rich and buy stuff and have a lovely life and go to operas and all that, you know. This is, it's good to have, you know,
Mm.
don't misunderstand. But I think it's just like, if this is only that thing, that's like too boring, you know.
Yeah,
That's like really boring,
I
you know.
agree.
And it's the same thing like the English sentence, getting lost is part of the journey, you know. It's, you know, if you don't want to get lost, you know, you rather stay at home, or you go to a club hotel where you don't have to even remember your name, you know. That's fine, you know. But you know, I'm getting bored after half a day, because that's all you do, you know. You're in your closed area, that's all you have, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
and and then everybody escapes through social media nowadays. But you can do this then, you know. So why do I have to go to a hotel? Because, okay, I don't have a pool. Okay, yeah, understood, you know. And you know,
Yeah.
that's what I think, you know, where you're heading to. And this is not really good entertainment, because even in entertainment, and this is what we've learned from the US, definitely, especially from Hollywood, they found the key to entertain the Western world, you
Yep.
know.
Yep.
And not just only by action films, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Even a good action film has metaphors, has different layers, where you have to sit, why is this the thing now, you know. And then you question yourself, you know. I
And
mean,
also, when you talk about action films, the best ones actually do both. Rather than interrupt Jan, I'm going to interrupt myself and tell you guys about today's sponsor, Opus Pro. If you want to create short clips for TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, but don't have the time, Opus is your tool. Powered by GPT-4, Opus Clip 2.0 creates shorts from your long-form videos. You just paste the link into the system, and within a short duration of time, you have clips that you can post, edited for you with subtitles, with titles, and there's lots of customization features that you can apply. I've used Opus Pro not only for this podcast, but I created a whole channel with it, and it has been a very successful and valuable asset to my arsenal, and we use it all the time, and other creators I'm familiar with have started using it and are loving it. If you want to use Opus Pro, click the affiliate link in the description, and you will be able to sign up and get going on creating clips. I really, really can't stress enough how amazing this has been for me and Jan and getting this podcast going. And it's the best. What an absolute dream. That is Opus Pro, link in description. Back to the podcast. So if you watch the latest John Wick, if you just want to watch him, kill people and shoot people in Paris, Berlin, and wherever else he is, you can do that. But if you want to pay attention to the story and focus on the mythology and stuff like that, you can also do that. And so there's layers to it. Mr. Beast, there's no layers. It's just like, there you go.
yeah, it's just out there, and then how crazy!
Even Marvel films have some layers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wouldn't say they're very good, but
yeah, but at least some people get help, especially the kids when you're in an age of, I don't know, maybe 14, but you don't want to get out, but you have friends who go out already, you maybe you need the Superman, who's doing all that, that's the same with for example musicians.
yeah.
They go up there, and that's why they are higher. It's like you are not the same anymore. That's why people like get makeup and stuff like that, and that's our history.
Oh.
And
Sorry. Carry on.
because it's how tough it is to paint a painting where you don't get sick of watching the whole time, because they're, it's not moving, it's one canvas, and you look at it, and every time you pass or you take a longer look, you see something else maybe.
Yeah.
And this is not Mr. Beast at all, and this is not TikTok, and how crazy it is that these things, when you put it up there, you see it only for, I don't know, a period of time, and then they are gone anyways,
Yeah, I agree. And what I wanted to add about the Marvel thing was, and I said that there's not much depth in it, but I'm kind of going to retract that a little bit, just because I remember being at a photography shoot for a fashion brand, and there was one of the models was an Asian guy, and there was another Asian guy who was there, and they were talking about the Marvel film Shang-Chi, and it had come out either a year prior or 6 months or something like that. And I had seen it, and it's a good movie, not my personal favorite, but it's solid. But these guys were talking about how it felt really good to have someone who looked like them be a superhero in live action and be able to do this. And that type of representation was super important. And I can't remember exactly within its content how much it involves Asian culture and those sorts of things. I remember there being lots of imagery and a lot of martial art influences by Asian styles, and in terms of geography and the buildings and the set design and things like that. So maybe quite a bit, actually. But there was this really, that profound effect for something that was in this Marvel film, which is mainly there. So on top of all this sort of representation stuff, you've got big demon dragon things fighting a giant serpent, and he's got 10 rings and he shoots people, and then there's archers and swordsmen and these giant manticore lion things eating people. So there's layers to it. Even in the most, as a lot of people criticize Marvel for being the most superficial type of junk food Hollywood, there's still layers to it. And it's not even too hard to pick up on them and interact. And it's the same with Black Panther. And there's a few other examples, of course, in Marvel's massive roster. But as we keep saying, Mr. Beast is absent of depth, and it's just there for the sake of being there.
And the thing is that there's, in any culture, that's the funny thing, it does, because you mentioned China and Asia, and we talked about the Western films with Hollywood. It doesn't matter where you live and what to do. And when you look into history and entertainment back then with theater and books, for example, they have happy ends.
Yeah,
and not all stories, but a lot of stories have happy ends. Why? Because this is where you carry away, But plus it's be positive, to life, and because the viewer or the audience has daily problems, and it helps through culture to overcome their problems, their daily shit, to get carried away or to have some other problems, and this over here, it's changing a lot. For example, that usually it was always men, and now there are much more women, who are the superheroes, definitely, yeah, because I don't want to change my life to a single mom with 2 kids, no way. How hard this life is for them, I can't even imagine this. Of course I can imagine, but I can, don't have the feeling, to wake up in the morning and to don't, have 2 jobs in the States, for example, and then still you need to use the diapers for the baby twice. That's happening over there, and then you see, all you see is that someone is burning money. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is like, what's the happy end by, shredding a fucking Lamborghini?
Yeah. Can I tell you?
Someone says this is the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. Can I tell you what I found interesting in his video? So let me know if you picked up on this, but he has the sponsored ad read as he is shredding random stuff in the big shredder, and he also mentions Feastables, his chocolate brand, and okay, so there's a moment towards the end where before he shreds the Lamborghini, for a bit of anticipation, he shreds some other things like vending machines and stuff like that, and he shreds, I think it is a vending machine, and he claims that it's full of Hershey's and is destroying Hershey's and stuff like that. I don't know exactly what it was, but he is shredding something related to Hershey's, which is his biggest competitor for Feastables. And I think that is really interesting, where he can afford to shred a Lamborghini, but he can't afford a lawyer to basically go, you need to be really careful about how you talk about and describe your competitors, because if you're selling something on an ad in any type and you mention your competitors, there's a certain, negatively, there's actually a potential legal problem there. Like, you're never going to hear Pepsi say anything directly negative about Coke, and they could allude to it and stuff like that. But the fact that he's directly mentioning Hershey's and doing this and stuff like that, I just found that also like notable. Because are you frozen? Hold up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. I was like, holy moly. I was like,
you too. Do you see me now moving?
Yeah, you're moving. I'm moving. Yeah.
Okay. On my screen, both are frozen now.
Okay. Yeah. You were literally like posing like this on my side, just for
I don't
so
see it.
long.
I
Oh,
see.
okay, right. You had your hand on your chin and
Yeah.
sitting there for so long, and I was like, "What? Are you frozen or pretending, or what's going on?" Anyway, you get what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
that potential legal problem as well of Hershey's basically being like, you mentioning our brand and putting it in a shredder is not cool. We don't like that, and maybe there's a legal thing there. Who knows? I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to pretend to know everything there, but
Yeah.
tricky.
Okay, but then he maybe they tell him okay, they have to go to court and everything and stuff. But they of course, but he has many lawyers to do this, and they again, this is something where especially in the USA, they just put it in there and let's see what's happening.
Yeah,
It's and I think this is just for even just get more attention out of that.
yeah.
But maybe this is the layer we are missing from other stuff.
Who knows, dude? I hope
You
the
know,
content that I make ends up being a little bit more positive and nice, and you know,
yeah, I mean it should, because every time everybody's watching, you are the creator, of it, and you should be taking care of the peoples. And if you just say no, I don't, then you shit on everything. So
yeah,
but this is not possible. We are not alone anymore, and then people will definitely say, okay, let's move on, and we don't want to be part of that part anymore.
mm,
But this will take a very very long time. That Mr. Beast will not be so. I mean, it would be fun to watch when the tipping point is of Mr. Beast, his universe, where it still goes on and on and on, or where it's just say, okay, it's like he doesn't get any more attention.
yeah, and um, I'll just say this as well because I believe it, but I do say credit to Mr. Beast and his team for being able to create such crazy videos on YouTube. It's this in the same sense where I don't love Drake's music, but he tours like crazy. He sells out shows. He is irrefutably a great artist. Mr. Beast and Jimmy, that's his real name, the channel he's created, the team he has, the content for YouTube, it's pretty
Yeah.
amazing that it's gotten to the level that it's gotten to. So credit to him. We do, however, believe that it is the worst type of junk food.
Definitely, definitely. And this is the thing, you can ask yourself now, what happens if you or me were in the position to be Mr. Beast, to say, listen, I found this really ugly, not good look. I mean, he's not good looking at all, I think,
Okay.
first of all. As a man, there are much better looking men out there. But he created this, junk food entertainment. And ask yourself, what happens if I am in this position? I bet he got thousands of offers to sell it already, his name
Oh
and his
yeah,
company
yeah,
and all that. So, and then, with all those trillion of millions of dollars, he could just do nothing. And I bet his grandchildren, if they are smart, don't need to work, and anymore if he would sell it now. But yeah, I think it's always definitely props out there to do this, because it's a smart way to roll out the business.
yeah, and
And
yeah, he also has a channel called Mr. Beast Philanthropy, which has a lot of community service and donations and social work. And in a lot of his other videos, he also includes a bit of that. So he does give back to communities. And he has an old video which is like curing 100 people's blindness, where he pays for cataracts surgery for certain people to get their eyes fixed, and a lot of it is actually in disadvantaged communities and countries. It's maybe 1,000, not 100, but it's also an interesting video because it exposes how you can actually buy surgery to fix your vision impairment issue, whether you are blind or partial blindness or whatever it may be. And so that's an exposure to be like, you can buy a surgery, you just can't afford it. So like, so sometimes he actually does have things that are, you can learn from. There's information, there's charity involved, and I'm sort of cool with that. Yeah, it's just this as this latest video has showcased.
It's crazy.
It's his bread and butter, his latest video. And without it, it's,
I mean, and talking about the third person party, who's not here involved is always not the best thing, to talk about the person who's not in the room.
Yeah.
And I bet I can really imagine that he's doing all kinds of stuff social for other people, like you mentioned it, but he's not putting it so high up there. It's like the same question we have right now with our football leagues here in Europe, that the Saudi Pro League is buying them so much, and usually, Cristiano Ronaldo was like the biggest star who came there.
Yep.
And now a lot of other football players are following, and and some I know, especially from Africa, with the African background, some I know even when they do this at the Premier League already, they get so much money and then they come out of small little towns where they say, okay, with all my money, I built like 2 schools and 1 hospital there, so. Of course, this is something else. What usually you don't go out there saying this or having this on your forehead, saying, and I think this is good, So you don't need to make money out of poor people by helping them, Of course, and but maybe it would be nice, Maybe it would be nice to make so much money out of with poor people that you then be able to shred a Lamborghini. And not vice versa. I don't know if this is the better way.
Yeah. It's tricky. And given that Mr. Beast does give back, and he has a few videos on his main channel where the whole video is him just giving back and donating and providing community service to some extent. He also had a thing where he planted a bunch of trees. For every $1 that was donated, a tree would be planted. And there was another one with water that I also can't remember. So there is a lot of philanthropy involved in Mr. Beast's brand, which is cool. Now I know more about this than you, but the real question is, like, from an outsider's point of view, the casual audience, what is the right proportion of this? And is what he's doing with his charity work equal to the fun stuff like shredding Lamborghinis and knocking over buildings with dominoes?
I mean, yeah. And I think, of course, to roll out a business like that, you need to be as crazy as this, otherwise you don't have success. This is how it is.
Yep.
If you are the first one selling ice cream, of course you go out on one spot, and then you go out in different spots, before some other people are doing this, It's the same, or like with the doner kebab stores, Turkish, the Turkish community got really smart in it, and then suddenly in one street within 200 meters you have 5 doner stores. Why? Because it's run by one family, because they said before another family comes in there, I rather have out of my 4 stores, 2 are working or 1 is working and the other 3 are not working, but I'd rather have this than someone else and getting into my business in my street.
Hold on. Are all of the doner kebab shops owned by one family?
What?
I think I've misheard you. I thought you were saying that there was one Turkish family that came into Berlin, set up a bunch of doner shops, and all of them are actually just run by, the same family. But no, I misheard you.
When you were in Berlin?
In Berlin, yeah.
Yeah, but right now, or when I was in Berlin, I said that.
Right now, just on the podcast.
No.
I've misheard you.
Explaining myself. It's if you have a street, here, for example, in Berlin, and within the street of 200 meters, you have one successful doner store.
Oh, okay, yep.
And then other will come because they see, there are so many people in line waiting for the döner. I open up another döner store right next door, so to speak. And this is what the family more is doing. So it stays in the family. Even the others, the new ones, are not making any business. It's much better to do this by yourself instead of having another company coming in or another family coming in and having all to push their stuff. That's what I meant.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Yes, and Mr. Beast owns a lot of donor shops.
Yeah. That's why he's rolling out, and he has to be bigger and bigger and crazier. Because if not, someone else will come, and then Mr. Beast is not on top. Because it is like that. Everybody knows it's in sports, for example, or in business. It doesn't matter. Everybody knows the winner.
Yeah.
No one really knows the second one, because the second one is the first loser.
Yes.
Then you have the third place, which is okay. Who is this? Because fourth place, no one really wants to know, because he didn't make it to the top three.
Have you heard the concept of parasocial relationships?
Parasocial relationships.
Para. So a parasocial relationship, and they've existed before YouTube. But for example, when you watch movies with Brad Pitt in them and then you watch interviews, you feel like you know a little bit more about Brad Pitt and stuff like that. But Brad Pitt knows nothing about you. So if I run into Brad Pitt randomly, I'm like, oh my God, Brad Pitt, I love you. You're so good and stuff like that. Amazing. He doesn't know me, so he doesn't actually have anything to talk about or anything like that. And there's all these people that love, so it's about fans knowing more about the creator than the creator knowing about their fans. And it's impossible for the creators to know like 1% of each individual fan, one small thing about everyone. They just can't. And with a lot of social media people, the parasocial relationship is quite interesting because given how expressive social media is, you can post and stuff like that and the creator can see it and they can share it. But back in the 90s and early 2000s, there were maybe a few message boards online, but especially in olden times, there was no way of having a connection with the creator. And so you see some creators online who engage with their communities, they do raffles, they do giveaways, they do whatever it may be. And Mr. Beast does it a little bit, but like when watching a bunch of Mr. Beast videos, I want the audience to describe elements of Jimmy's personality. Like what is he? Is he like, what are three good things about his personality? Like, he's a hustler, he's persistent, he's positive, and what are three things that, like, I don't know anything about who he is as a person. I just know the brand so well, but I just don't know, like, it's.
But one question then is this, because, I mean, the thing is that in history, for example, in art, we had artists here who said, everybody can be an artist.
Yep.
It's just the idea and the discipline to make it out, And then people got more involved into art themselves, and then they discovered they are like shit,
Mm-hmm.
Then, for example, in the 90s, it was, I think, when the camcorder came out, I think it was the director of Apocalypse Now, and what's his name again? Not Martin
Francis
Scorsese.
Ford Coppola.
Francis Ford Coppola said it, that now with the camcorder we will get some ugly girl playing around because the dad gave her this as a gift, and she's playing around with this camcorder, and now she will become one of those biggest directors in the world. Because it's before that you had to go to a film school to become a director. Nowadays you can go to a store, pick up your camcorder and make really nice films,
Mm-hmm.
and edit them and everything like that, if it's a real talent, And the same is, for example, that's why these influencers are out there, because it's some said, I'm just need to be good looking and I'm just showing the world, and for many people that's enough,
Yep.
you know. And the thing is, then what I always claim is this is not the world. This is just a little piece out of this whole world,
Yeah.
and that's why it's so important to get educated, to to fail and to overcome your all the problems and then to have success, because out there what no one says in the internet, you have to be so loud to get the attention, loud by sound and video, that's very important, and to create something, and just creating myself by making beauty visual stuff, okay, but that's like a very low entrance level you have, and then you're competing with a lot of people, and that's the thing, nowadays it's like you just need to start,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
You just need to do it. But
yeah,
good luck competing
and
with
then
Mr. Beast.
yes, exactly, and you can name yourself Mr. Heast, and then you do everything, and the same, it would be funny if you have success. I don't know, you know.
Well, that first AI channel I did where I got the podcast clips, AI chose comedy podcasts. But if I decided to do Mr. Beast appearances, I think it would have gotten way more views than 50,000 within that month. Like easily, just for the sake
Yeah.
of milking the algorithm and what's popular and that sort of thing. And yeah.
Yeah, and maybe this is the way to go, to be honest, Joe.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, every artist in the world, always, and it doesn't matter what genre the artist is
Stealing.
in, is stealing and is doing something what they said, okay, I need to get paid. I
Yeah.
do this, and but then I have a lot of money, so I can stay the rest of the year and create my own stuff, and this is even better creative wise,
Totally.
maybe that's the thing nowadays. It's just that more and more people. It's like the same, with crime videos or crime series. How many crime series can you have? You know, there's no limit.
Yeah.
Because every crime video says something else or is different to the other one. On one stage, I think. But that's why, I mean, to be honest, this is always, I always say, since the Bible was written, all stories were told.
Yeah.
And from that point, we should have stopped then writing books, right? Because it's all written. No, from that was a starting point to everybody, and then Gutenberg invented the mass production of books,
Hmm.
and so it went on and on and on, and the same is, for example, Mr. Beast will not be for the rest of his life doing Mr. Beast stuff, and be highly successful. There will be the tipping point where he says, okay, no, that's enough, or other people are just coming in and say, no one cares about Mr. Beast anymore,
Yeah. And it's a tricky point, and I don't want to project and say I want Mr. Beast to fail. But it's like it's going to be when could he potentially fall off and lose popularity? I'm not too sure. But if he keeps shredding Lamborghinis and doing crazy stuff like that, adjacent or whatever it may be, it's going to be pretty hard to top what he's doing. And like, we'll see. And maybe he'll get bored of it. He'll be sitting on a podcast being like, look, I've done it all. I've shredded
yeah.
Lamborghinis. I made a house entirely out of gold. I sent a Mr. Beast chocolate bar to space, and we now have a moon studio where we produce content on the moon, and all this sort of stuff.
Exactly.
I actually want to see an astronaut YouTuber. I actually reckon that would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, and it's already started with Mr. Baumgartner from Red Bull when he
Oh,
jumped
that's right. Yeah.
off of that shit. That was the first step.
Is he German
you know,
or is he
Austrian.
Oh, that's a shame.
It's okay. This little country up there in the mountains, you know.
It's all right, yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You know, it's
We love
as a
Austria.
German and yeah, German and Austrians, we have a very specific past. But yeah, it's yeah. I mean, where's the limit? You know, sky's the limit. You know, and the
Totally.
sky's the limit is in the USA and it's in China. You know, it's like and in Europe. You know, it's just you know, we just have to put out ideas to do it and then let's see, you know, it's nice that we have that, you know, and this possibility and to put so many people into labor and into work and Mr. Beast is definitely giving many people which we never will see because they're in the back of the camera into labor, into work, into
Absolutely.
you know feeding the kids, you know, paying mortgage off and or student loans and stuff like that, you know, because he's hiring them, you know, and so you know as long as he doesn't be a dick and I don't know and killing people or doing something pedophile or whatever, you know, that's the you know his choice, you know, and his demons, I would say, you know, to wake up every morning and he knows that's shit what he's producing. He knows that's fast food, you know, for sure. He's
Yeah,
not a
yeah.
dumbass, you know. He knows this for sure, and you know it's just a matter of time. And this is something what I've seen is especially in music, for example, is that people retire more and more. And this is what I never thought, you know, when I grew up with them, first of all, they were older than me, these people. And it was for me sure that they do this until the end of their living, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is something, this is changing, you know. And even for me, because there is this theory that, not theory, but, you know, this thinking in the, if you're a student, and when you're smart, you need two or three other people from your studies. And you, while you're studying, you need to have an idea. Out of this idea comes a startup. And then maybe you have your professor or teacher coming in there. And then, you know, you have something which you are doing. You get graduated and then you can sell your stocks already from it. And then you're pretty much richer than before. You
Yeah.
know? And then you can choose whatever you want to do, you know.
Can we get
And
someone
this
from the
comes,
Mr. Beast team on the podcast?
this would be really nice. This would be really nice because maybe they say, yeah, but you know, he comes in from Monday, 8 o'clock, and we all wear white and we go like
Oh
this to
God,
him.
no!
And we
I
say,
don't want to put that out there. No,
you know,
that's not cool.
or,
They don't do that. They don't do that.
you know, or they come in at 10 a.m. in the morning and say, let's have breakfast. And well, how do you feel? Oh, I don't feel so much. Yeah, then go home. Yeah, I don't know. You know, it's
Yeah,
like the other thing. You know, so it would be really interesting to get one of his team people up here and to interview them or to understand their whole thing. You know, it's like, you know, when you on a smaller level, you know, when you go out in a new office and you have like 5 other colleagues, it's a small little office, you know,
yeah,
and it doesn't matter what you do, you're just office person, you know, and it's nice if the company is there and offers water and coffee, you
yeah.
know, all day, you know, but it doesn't mean that that's like the average stuff, you know.
We also
And
like talk about Mr. Beast just to specify as well, just because as producers and as people who work in media, we kind of have to be aware of the people who are on top in their given industries and why are they on top and stuff like that. And so that's sort of why we're focusing very hard on him and his content and whatnot. And especially this recent one with how ridiculous it was. So overall, given that he's got so many jobs and is hiring so many people, like I think would 200 people have worked on his latest video? Potentially. Who knows? But lots of mouths are being fed, people are paying rent, all that sort of stuff. And if we can create media that can then have more jobs and stuff like that and do it, that's the best. And
Yeah.
as producers, that's what we'd love to strive towards.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely, and I think it's always good to be part of it. It's like, if you are a cameraman, a DOP, and you say, all this digital stuff, I have no clue. I never wanted to touch that. I'm just filming. This person is out of jobs.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
cannot. You have to you have to grow in your industry. This is once you come out of university, you know a lot, but it's not everything. Then the shit starts. What you need to know, what you need to find out, and everything. It's like driving school over here in Germany. Where you pay. It's like if you pay 2,000 euro for driving school, you are good. You know, and it takes you half a year maybe. Then you are fast to get your driver license,
Mm-hmm.
and at the end of the day, you're not a good driver. You start then while you can drive, and then you need practice every day, and that's the same. It's nowadays in business, it's good to have Mr. Beast there coming with a one person or maybe three person, two people in his back and him at the beginning, with videos, and then he sits there and he says, "Oh, the first 100 euros I got, or US dollars I got, I put again in there, and blah blah blah." And then it's the snowball gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and now he's able to have snow in summertime.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
crazy, and but it's good to have. It's just that, and not everybody has to do it because the other 95% are failing. You
Mm.
know, it is like that. And there's no formula to do it. It's like, for example, with the tablets. I think Microsoft had the tablets way invented before Apple. But again,
Really, with
Apple was like,
touchscreens?
yeah,
Wow. Okay, I didn't know
I think
this.
so, but they didn't know what to do with them because they didn't see the market. And this is the thing. Or for example, smartphones. They were smart. I had smartphones before the iPhone, and then suddenly Apple said on one it came out that they do smartphones, and everybody, yeah, cool. And then I'm an Apple victim all my life. I don't know about anything about PCs or Dell computers or anything like that. I have no clue. I don't even know where to turn them on. And but Apple was then so creative, and maybe they got the chance inside the whole, being at
Yeah,
the right
it's
time on the right spot. That's the thing.
well, that's interesting because a film, it recently came out in Australia, but I saw it at the Berlin Film Festival. BlackBerry. It's about that company, and they made the BlackBerry phone, and it was actually the first smartphone. And they class a smartphone as you can text, call, and have internet access. And there's a moment in it when Steve Jobs has his very famous press conference when he announces the iPhone. And not only are they like, well, you can text, you can call, you can message, you can access the internet. There's also apps where any person can develop apps, and there's no more keyboards. It's all touchscreen. It's all interactive. And so, as we kind of know from real life, BlackBerry just sunk and vanished
Yeah.
from there. But it's totally interesting how that type of thing can happen, and how like there's something can exist that's cool, but then the better version of it comes around. And
And this is again stuff, good that you mentioned this, because what I heard, I think it's an urban legend thing, but BlackBerry said we're not going to go there because people want to have the feeling of those, when you print, when you type, they want to have this feeling,
click.
of the buttons.
Yeah.
This was the big mistake. And for example, we had, there was, I don't know if it was Siemens. I think it was Siemens. They built mobile phones,
Mm-hmm.
and one thing, the menu was way too complicated. But I think it was Siemens who missed the thing that to close to have a mobile to go like this, and
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
a
Flip
company.
phone. Yeah, yeah.
What?
A flip phone. That's what I
A
know it
flip
as.
phone,
Yeah.
and then everybody jumped on that, because
Right.
everybody said that's really nice. You can flip it down, and then it's smaller, and the phone is your call is disconnected when you go like this, and they say, no, people don't do that, they hang up, and then boom, one wrong decision, and you're out of the market.
Yeah. And now flip phones are
They-
kind of back. You can get a
yeah,
smartphone that opens up.
yeah,
It looks
and
stupid but it's interesting. And
yeah.
that sounds unfortunate for Siemens. They're such a small company. I'm sure they're really struggling right now. That was a joke.
I know. It's just for our millions of audience people out there. I think Siemens still gets million of euros every month because of other companies have to pay money because they invented some clicks, and this goes. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's already 20 years ago. I heard this at university.
Damn.
And probably it's changing, but these are the things, it's, for example, and then I go back to humans and football again. I don't know if you know Jürgen Klinsmann. He used to be a former football player here in Germany, and he negotiated one of these deals when he went from Stuttgart to Bayern or whatever, and he said this was the most important part was for me to get this level that I've been paid once so much that I don't have to care about all the other contracts because I'm rich already and no one can take this away from me. From that point, he was much relaxed.
Wow.
And he says, this helped me a lot because then he went to England and he became very famous because when they foul you, when they make a foul, and it's not true, he fell a lot, and in Britain they don't like that. So what he and his teammates said, if you shoot a goal, you do the diver, because it's like, okay, he's he makes fun about himself, he's so mature to do this, and he got like everybody said, wow, cool, that's like a really great guy coming from, he's a bad guy because once you go with him like this, he falls down and he wants to get a 11-meter free kick, it's like this is the story arc,
Yeah. I think sorry. Yep.
No, okay, this was just a stupid joke. I think it's a 10:15 already, and this podcast gets very long, I think.
We get out of hand a little bit with the topics. Let's circle back to our beginning moment where I was going to upload a TikTok and see how many views it had in an hour. It's been about an hour and 10 minutes. So let me refresh the page. We got 24 views.
You see? Good. That's like every 10 minutes, 2.
Yeah. That's so bad.
Yeah. But even maybe you need more hashtags on it. With
Definitely.
Mr. Beast. No, I'm just kidding.
Who knows? Maybe by the time this comes out, when the bodybuilder series is complete, it's got more than 24. And I've got hashtags with Ronnie Coleman and Jay Cutler and Frank Zane. I've got all the big popular ones. Lou Ferrigno, do you remember that guy? He played the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
He had like the goofy hair and stuff like that. He's blind. I've learned some interesting things.
He's blind.
He has, I think he's got either partial or complete blindness to an extent. But in fact, I'll look this up to fact check it now. Blind.
Okay. It's like the main cast of the Blacklist.
Hearing loss. Sorry. 80% hearing loss.
Hearing loss. Okay.
Damn.
Crazy. Yeah.
Anyway.
All right.
Let's wrap it up, or anything else you wanted to mention?
No, I have nothing to say.
Neither do I. Enough. This Mr. Beast talk is making me exhausted.
Yeah. So maybe he jumps on our podcast because we have so many people listening.
And by the way, we have not clowned, we've been critical on a lot of Mr. Beast content. Overall, it's I'm quite amazed and impressed by what he does. I just think his content is like dessert.
Same with me, you know,
Yeah.
and I do eat fast food, you know. I can't eat McDonald's and Burger King anymore because there's something really strange when I eat that, but I still go to the burger joint down the street and
Burgermeister. Yeah.
Burgermeister, exactly. Yeah, you love Burgermeister,
I
right?
love it. And when I went back to Berlin, it was the first place I went to, and it was so good. Yeah. Just as I remembered it. Anyway, thank you everyone
All
for
right.
listening.
Thanks.
And guest. We mentioned guest early on the thing. We do actually have a guest episode coming up. It may be in a couple weeks, but we have a guest episode coming up, and I'll tell Jan about it. This is the first time he's hearing of it too. So, yeah. But, yep, guest episode coming up soon. Get excited for that.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.